kick it off and get started with everyone in attendance. And we have a pretty exciting call today. Let me just share my screen briefly here, and everyone can see the notes. And I'll just confirm, Septimus, we're good on the recording?
Yes, we're up.
Nice, perfect. Okay, cool. So this is the fifth cadCAD community call. Today we're hosting Ben Scholtz. Actually, is it Ben Scholtz? I just realized that taking the course, how you pronounce your last name. I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time.
Yeah, I think it's Scholtz. Although cool. I'm South African, so there's a mix of different accents and everything down here.
Great, fair enough. Cool. So Ben's going to take a few minutes and walk us through some of the new developments in the cadCAD Edu course, which has been the rage of the cadCAD community lately. And then after he presents that, we'll go through some of the new collaborative workflow processes that are coming together in the cadCAD community and how you can contribute into various working groups and move this community forward with everyone else working on it in various areas. But maybe we'll take a few minutes at the beginning just to do a welcome and introduction. And yeah, maybe just a quick intro for anyone who hasn't been here before. We'll just do like name and projects you're working on, and if you're interested in modeling anything particular. And I'll start off. I'm Jeff. I'm working with the Common Stack, with Block.Science, with cadCAD, and a bunch of other organizations, kind of moving forward the ethical Web3 design space. And some of the models I've worked on are the conviction voting model, dynamic bonding curves, a really exciting model coming out soon. And yeah, really excited to chat more about that when that releases. And I will pass it to Ben.
Cool. How's everyone doing? Yeah, I have worked in the past for Molecule and Proteo, and this year started doing freelance work. I've got a sort of background in engineering, and yeah, I did some work on models like for IXO and Swarm, and more recently started doing some freelancing work with Block.Science, which has been really exciting. And then since January, have been working on the cadCAD Edu course with a small team, some of which are on the call today. So it's exciting. And yeah, really looking forward to talking more about the course later. I will pass to Tyler.
I think you are mute, Tyler.
We saw you unmuting there, Tyler, but I wasn't able to hear you. I'm not sure if you have a secondary mute. Or Danilo, would you like to carry it forward?
Yeah. Welcome everyone. I'm Danilo. I am a research engineer at Block.Science, and also I've helped Ben and others like Tyler doing the cadCAD Edu course. I work on some models, some of them which are on the, let's say, on the open source community, like the Prey Predator one. And well, probably I'm somewhat getting know because of some of the visualizations that I was doing, like for example, network visualizations for Common Stack, Gitcoin, and well, happy to meet everyone, and that's it. I'll pass to the secret agent, James.
Hey everybody, my name is James, and I work at Near on the community team, and I just finished the course the past weekend, and I'm looking forward to the follow-on course, is learning and collaborating, so happy to be here. Thanks for all your hard work.
Awesome, great to have you here. Who would you like to pass to?
Oh, I always forget to do that. Let me get the tab. Katoya, have you gone?
No, I haven't. Thanks, James. I'm Chris Katoya. I'll go by Katoya because there's so many Chris's involved with cadCAD. So I like to take credit for any time someone says, Chris did a good job. I'm program manager at Block.Science, also working as part of the infra working group within cadCAD. And I'm about to start the cadCAD education course. Super excited to go through it. And I will pass to David HQ.
Hi. So I'm David. I'm working for about 2 years on project that started on Raspberry Pis. So it's music player and also multimedia player. And later we found out that similar principles can be used for like broader peer-to-peer networking. And then we made this summer a proof of concept of a search engine, which is zetasig.com. And if somebody uses this, then it goes in searches go in parallel to all connected nodes through WebSockets. And we are just trying now to build more apps in these principles, which are every node has full GUI and full backend, and it should be optimized for Raspberries first, and that's why it's fast. It uses WebSockets, and it looks like a mishmash, a little bit of everything, but it will emerge like a better structure. So next application is for collaborative drawing, and it's also real-time state syncing, and it works in touchscreen in tablets powered by Raspberry Pis. But slowly we're starting to build some type of community around it, because we got some new people last month, and now we're paying them straight out of my reserves. But we want to try to do a different cycle. So, for example, subscriptions for like some open source models where people pay yearly fee to get better support in installing everything. So there will be free and everything, but we'll find a way for people to know why they are paying maybe 300 DAI or something per year, and this will then be distributed to developers. So I'm learning about tokenomics to be ready later for when we need more of this. Thanks.
Nice.
And
Thanks, David.
To, maybe Chris Paruch.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris. I am a researcher at the Vienna University of Economics and Business, and I'm working for the Research Institute for Crypto Economics. I'm doing my PhD there, and I'm also a researcher with Block.Science for 2 years now, collaborating on some projects. I know most of you guys, and I'm happy to be part of the community as well here. I haven't done much cadCAD modeling, so I'm excited to learn more and to learn how to do it in Python, learn how to use cadCAD for simulating complex systems. So yeah, super excited to be in the call and see what's going to be the next things that are interesting, right? I think that we haven't had Balin yet. I don't know, maybe, or
yeah, go.
Yeah. Cool.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, the restart worked. Yeah, I'm the lead systems engineer at Block.Science, and been involved at cadCAD since very early on. So built many models. Open source ones would include the adoption funnel that's on cadCAD demos, as well as a Swarm overlay network incentive model. Sorry, not Swarm, Status. That's on the Status open source repo. Several others as well, but and I will pass it to, let's see, Roger VS, which I saw the name come through on some cadCAD commits, so I'll pass it to you.
Hey, Roger. I am a electronic engineer by trade, moving into data science and machine learning and that part of things. Love systems. I think it's the core to the world, basically, and because they get so complex, people get confused and then they start fighting. And I think with the IMF calling for new Bretton Woods moments, this is a time when we need to start understanding things, because otherwise people are just going to keep fighting. So yeah, I kind of see cadCAD as a way for me to understand economics and the whole thing, economics initially, and then just try and figure out what's going on. Because right now it's just so hard to figure out what's going on with there's just so many things to play, and there's no system to track it. But I think cadCAD looks like a good option to start digging into these things and simplifying it for people to understand what's going on, and teach people like what happens when this happens, then that happens, because people don't know, you know. So yeah, that's my main interest. But yeah, I don't have a very strong economics background, so I'm building up that knowledge sphere. Yeah, I'm more physics and control systems and things like that. So, but yeah, cadCAD looks great. Like when I first saw it came up, I was just like, this is cool, but I couldn't get my teeth into it until that course came about, and the course was just like, okay, yeah, sweet, this is nice. So yeah, thanks for that. It's really, really cool. Who hasn't gone yet? Zep?
I have.
Soderprop?
Yeah, Septimus. Yeah, thank you, bro. I come here because I'm recording this
Go ahead,
call.
Soderpop.
And I'm pretty new to the crypto space overall, and yeah, I'm learning every call I go. So thank you. And I'll pass it to Jeff because I don't know who didn't pass yet.
I think Soderpop is ready to go.
I'm an acquaintance of Tyler's. We work on some projects together, and he's been very adamant that I try out cadCAD. I'm very excited about it because I'm looking at like stuff that has like a platform that I want to build with him and other people. If you're interested, join us to actually bring about actual medical grade nanorobotics. And I think, the beginnings of a plan of how that could actually be done within our lifetimes.
Cool. And then if you guys can hear me, I can go ahead and say something. You guys able to hear me now?
Okay, yeah, please.
Yeah, so I'm Tyler. I work at Block.Science on cadCAD. But it's kind of funny because I work on the thing that I'm not really good at using myself. I imagine that's kind of like being an auto mechanic, but not knowing how to drive. So I like to think that this cadCAD educational course, is more for me than perhaps the other guys that contributed to it. So I'm pumped. We've put together something that I'm really proud of, and it's awesome to hear that so many people have gone through the course or are going through it and gotten a lot out of it. Because I know personally I have as well.
Awesome. Absolutely. And I see Tonga just joined. Tonga, we're just at the end of an introductions round. So I don't know if you're there, if you'd like to say your name and any projects or models that you've worked on. And then I think you're the last introduction, and then we'll go into Ben Scholtz speaking about cadCAD Edu. Okay, maybe he just jumped into the channel. So Ben, why don't you take it away? I will stop screen sharing here, and I understand you've got a presentation to pull up.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and we can have more sessions at the end. Cool. I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's get the permissions right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Still loading for me.
Okay.
Oh, now I can see it.
Get across to the presentation somehow. Okay, I'll have to change the screen, I think.
Discord is a little funny, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jeff, do you know if the server is still boosted, or should I do that again?
I think we should be sufficient. It looks like we're at level 1. I don't think we should have an issue with the size of the call as we're at now, though.
Cool, I think it's coming up. Not sure which browser it's going to share. Hopefully nothing private.
Ready to jot down notes if it is.
Oh, wow. I can't believe you showed us that. Just kidding.
It's still just got a loading bar for me.
Still loading over here too. You might want to just like back out of the process and restart it maybe.
Restart Discord or yeah, screen share.
Just
Okay,
screen
let me reduce the quality as well. For 480p. It's going to be low, 15 frame rate. Okay.
I've been helping Santi yesterday with the Mac, and I think it has something to do with the permissions on the Discord. He solved that. He had the same problem. Like when he was sharing, it only shows like the background of the screen, nothing else, and the same issue. Like probably it's permission problems on the Mac.
Okay, local permission problems on my side. Let me have a look at those settings. Otherwise, I'll just do it without a presentation.
Let me know if there's anything I can do on the cadCAD server side. I don't think we've had a problem sharing screen before, but I know there are a lot of settings in here that I haven't really explored.
Other than bandwidth, there shouldn't really be anything server side that we would need to adjust, but
okay.
I don't know, Ben. If you've also got the presentation somewhere, I suppose I could try and share it from here and just you tell me when to go to the next screen. I don't know what it is you're presenting exactly, but
NFT Genus.
Oh, it looks like he just dropped off, probably restarting Discord.
I think we're just
Okay. It asked me to reset the Discord to update the permissions. So let me give that a try again.
yeah, if your bandwidth locally is limited as well, you could try turning off your camera and just doing that.
Okay, let me give that a try as well.
That might help.
Yeah, I'm checking permissions. Ben, you should have the permissions based on your contributor role. So I think it's likely a bandwidth issue.
Do you want to try someone else presenting the presentation, Ben?
Yeah, let me try share it.
Ben, if you have a link, I can pull it up, or Tyler, either way.
Cool, I'm gonna share it with Tyler. I've got his email here already.
Great.
Cool, Tyler, it should be coming your way.
Share this. $720. You guys able to see it?
Awesome. Yep.
You very often.
I don't think I can. I'm seeing it.
Cool, I can see it now.
I'm still seeing the stream has ended. It's closed stream.
Oh yeah, close the stream and then find the new one.
Gotcha, got it.
So yeah, just I'm gonna go back on mute, Ben, but just let me know when you want me to
Cool.
switch.
I'll call next. Thanks, Tyler. Okay. Yeah. So this is just a brief presentation to tell you more about cadCAD Edu and what our next steps are. So we're going to talk about what is cadCAD Edu, why we created it, who the team behind cadCAD Edu, and what it took to create the MOOC, how it was received. So yeah, cadCAD is taking the Web3 community by storm. And the idea is that we want to take successful MOOCs, which are massive open online courses, and apply sort of best practices to cadCAD education on a very scalable level. Next. Cool. So these are some of the sort of high profile projects that are currently using cadCAD. And it's honestly like quite impressive having a look at this and seeing how many of the sort of recognizable Web3 projects are currently experimenting with and using cadCAD to validate their systems. Next slide. And these are some of the projects that are currently actively building on top of cadCAD. So we've got Block.Science, who open sourced it a year or two ago, and then we've got Block.Science Labs that's currently being developed, which is also a very exciting development. And within the open source community, which is what we're discussing now on this community call, we've got a lot of open source contributions to the repo itself. And the Ethereum Foundation is also creating a lot of open source projects for their robust incentive group. And the Common Stack is relying on cadCAD to validate a lot of their systems that they're currently building. So it's a very exciting space to be in. You can go to the next slide. So the idea is that we wanted to make initially a very comprehensive course for beginners to kind of close the gap between what companies like Block.Science are developing internally and people who are new to the space, make it a lot more approachable for them. You can go to the next slide. So this is the team behind the course. So Jonathan's not on the call today, but Danilo and Tyler are both here. Tyler's presenting the call for me. Thank you. And we've all had various contributions over the last few months since June, July, and we've formed a very strong team. And it's been a pleasure to work with all of them. We can go to the next slide. So it took a lot more effort than we initially imagined. I think we've all invested about 450 engineering hours into this. You can see a sort of summary of the breakdown of how that time was spent. And we kind of estimate that for the follow-up course, which I'll discuss a bit now, we will be at least 30 to 40% more efficient. We've learned a lot in terms of producing MOOC, sort of high-quality MOOC style courses. And we really hope that we can now take these learnings and introduce them into follow-up courses. And also, because we've been lucky enough to have this course freely available because of the sponsorship, we are now also able to get a lot of really quality feedback from everyone that's taken the course, and the feedback has been amazing. Like the constructive feedback for not only improving this course, but what we can potentially introduce in future courses is great. You can go to the next slide. And so here we have the course. We've got a web page, which is cadcad.education, which at the moment just hosts the current course. We've got a forum on that page as well, with all the videos, as well as exercises and solution video walkthroughs and various other cool features that this platform has enabled us to build. Go to the next slide. So reception was really enthusiastic. We've got a number of tweets that we've kind of captured over here, various projects and people. Next slide. We've also had been creating certificates of completion, and in follow-up courses, we imagine that we will have certificates of more advanced topics as well. And the students that have completed so far have been very positive about the outcome of the course. Next slide. Here you can see that in the comments. And we've got a net promoter score that rivals Apple, which has been great, which is basically a way to score and measure the reception of something and how likely people are to become active promoters of your project or product or course in this case. Next slide. And we've got a number of people that we brought on board quite early on to review the course, give us a lot of constructive feedback, contribute to the course. And we've got Jeff, who's hosting the call today, and we've got Marcus, who's been working with Balancer Labs as well as Block.Science. We've got Shruti and Stephen as well. You can go to the next slide. So what is next? At the moment, we're very focused on giving sort of quality student support on the platform, and we kind of keeping our heads down and building a follow-up course which will sort of apply more advanced cadCAD content. We optimistically hoping for a quarter Q1 2021 launch for the next course, and it will build on top of the foundations course. So it's great that we've got the foundations course out early, and I think anyone who has taken the course and feels comfortable with cadCAD by that stage, hopefully, will be more than able to take on the more advanced topics that we're going to be introducing. So if you want to know more about that, you can follow on Twitter. That's kind of where we will be where we'll be launching and letting you know of any new updates. And next slide. So if you feel that you can contribute in any way, or if you're a sponsor and you want to sponsor any future courses, you can contact us. We're open to all sorts of contributors if it aligns with our goals, and if you're motivated and you think you're passionate about education, you can always get in touch with us. At the moment, we kind of heads down focused on the current course and the sort of next one that we're going to be launching, but we're hoping to continue expanding the team as we go along. Next slide. Unless that's the last slide, I'm not actually sure. Cool. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's the last one. So.
Cool. Thanks, Tyler.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Ben. And I know there's a number of community members who have already taken the course. So if anyone has any questions or comments for the cadCAD Edu team while they're here, feel free. We can take a couple of minutes and do some Q&A if there's anything that pops up for anybody.
I have a question. So this was ongoing, right? So it was live, or what's the difference if I go now, if I missed when it was ongoing?
Yeah, it's entirely ongoing, so it's going to be available for free until at least April of next year. So there's more than enough time to take the course in your own time.
So it's still the same as like 2 weeks ago. It's not that it
exactly.
lasts for 2 weeks. It's okay.
Yeah, it's an on-demand, sort of on your own schedule course. You can start it at any time, pause, resume, whatever. There's not a ongoing class schedule that you have to sort of follow along at that pace. You can do it on your own. So
and the plans for later for I do plan to take it then before April, but if somebody is late, what happens then? Do you know already after April it's taken down? Or?
So for the moment, we're still kind of considering the course economics. We've been really lucky to be able to sort of spend as much time as we have developing the course and offer it for free because of sponsorship. And we hope that we can basically continue in that manner. But we will also be kind of experimenting with paid courses in future, and we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, but at least until April next year is when it will be freely available.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't understand if it's going down or maybe start.
It'll be accessible from here on forward. It'll be accessible.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you won't lose access, but what you might lose access to is the freely available
Yeah.
now, right? So in the future, we may move away from sponsorship towards a paid model, but the course itself will still remain available to everyone. So you're not going to miss out on it.
All right.
Yeah, and also if you end up signing up now and only end up doing the course mid-year next year, it's going to be available to you from when you sign up, as long as we keep hosting the course, basically. Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool. Any other questions or comments? I am halfway through the course. I've kind of done a couple of lectures sporadically, but man, I'm so stoked. I'm digging into the Python section now, and yeah, really excited to skill up in some of these areas. I've looked at so many cadCAD models, but being able to get my hands on some, and I think this course does a really good job of laying out a clear and simple process for getting from A to Z in cadCAD development. Awesome. Okay, so for the last half of the call, I wanted to chat about some of the collaborative workflow processes that are going on in the cadCAD community. So for anyone who is interested, you can, and I'll drop a link to these notes in the cadCAD community called text channel. I'll drop these notes there now, just so everyone has them if they need any of these links. But the, yeah, we're starting to organize the GitHub board according to work groups. So we've got 3 different work groups. We have infrastructure admin, who's kind of working on, Discord, website, some of the back-end processes. We've got the education outreach group, which is more on the comms and Gitcoin grants, and support working group, which is more working on the feature improvements and integrations of the cadCAD core tech itself. So we're starting to put these into an open GitHub board, so contributors can jump in and take an issue. I would love to ramp up some maybe bi-weekly chats for each working group, maybe starting with the infrastructure admin group. I know Katoya and myself and a few other contributors have been working kind of piecewise on tasks here and there, but I would love to get more of a sort of sprint structure going so that we have kind of like 2-week windows for assigning tasks, moving them forward, checking in, and just having a regular process for yeah, moving forward on some of the open issues on the cadCAD front. Is there anyone here who is or isn't already involved that would be interested in joining some of those bi-weekly check-ins? I'll just make note that I can follow up afterwards.
I'd like to join.
Your audio is cutting out pretty bad. If you want to maybe disable video just while you're screen sharing, it might help.
Good call. Thanks for that. All right, so I will note Ben. Is there anyone else who would be interested in either infrastructure admin or education outreach or the core tech working groups?
I'd be keen to help. I'm not quite sure where I can help at this stage, but I still need to find my feet, but I'm keen to help.
Yeah, and I think part of it is sort of collective sense making as well. A lot of the initial work for cadCAD was happening within Block.Science. So we're kind of decentralizing to community at this point. So I think there is some expectation of, yeah, we're collective sense making and moving forward together. So all contributors welcome, no experience required.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any need for a person with experience with art and design and illustration?
Definitely. So I would say that's kind of the next step. That would probably be more education outreach. We're actually looking to do a bit of update on on the cadCAD website, branding. There's definitely some area for improvement there. I think the first step is kind of getting these collective sense-making processes so that we all have like a coordinated workspace and issues. And then some of those issues that come out of that process will likely be, branding updates, website updates, and I think that would be really appreciated for sure.
Yeah, I also have experience in disability justice studies and on a personal level, disability accessibility, and just design principles in general are kind of my thing. Thought that might help for like people who are trying to use the interface or whatever.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, cool. I will note your name here, and I'm sure there's some other groups in the cadCAD community that would be really interested in hearing more about that too.
Excellent, thank you.
Awesome. So other than go ahead.
Yeah, so I could translate to Spanish at some point if you want. These next 2 weeks I'm really busy, but after that I have time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And for now, I think we don't really have hard deadlines on any of these issues, but once we start spinning up these work groups and getting a better idea of who's willing to take on what, and we can start planning them into our workflow pipeline over the coming weeks. That's much appreciated, Tonga. Cool. So other than the GitHub board, which is open, anyone can come in here, suggest issues, take on issues. There's also the a cadCAD Notion that was put out in the past couple of weeks. This is a good onboarding kind of TLDR. It's got all of your introduction materials. It's kind of just a single source of truth for all cadCAD materials. We've got installation suggestions, obviously the cadCAD Edu Bootcamp course, a lot of the cadCAD tutorials here, just in a bit more graphical available format. Doing cadCAD quests. This was something put up on Metagame a little while ago, which was really exciting. Some intro to cadCAD videos. There's tons of stuff coming down the pipe. Actually, we're also working on a developer education via Gitcoin bounties. So we're running, or we will be running a Gitcoin bounty process so that developers can pick up available cadCAD models, add to them, tweak them, and also get paid for the time to educate themselves in using cadCAD. And then we've got a list of cadCAD demo models here. So this is probably the most comprehensive list of all open source cadCAD models that have been worked on by various members of the community. So feel free to jump into this Notion. The link is in the notes as well. And then if you click through, you've got the repo. For some of these, there's more, walkthrough video, the purpose, the intended audience, and some more information here. So this can be a resource for anyone who's looking for cadCAD links. All of our channels are here. Our calendar for all of these calls and working group calls will be on here as well. How to donate and fund this work, and some background information as well. So this is a good one-stop shop. Yeah, go ahead.
Can we get that link dropped in the text channel? Or is it a part of the document that was just shared?
Yep, absolutely. I will drop this in separately.
Yeah.
It's in the document, but I'll drop it in as well. There you go. It's in the text channel now for the cadCAD community call as well. Great. So yeah, and I just wanted to point, if anyone is looking for more cadCAD kind of co-working spaces, there is the Token Engineering cadCAD study group is kind of churning through these community-based designs at the moment. So they're looking at token engineering community cadCAD models and working on them collaboratively. So you can find them in the TE Discord. There's also potentially some internships coming up in the OneHive Luna Swarm. This is a modeling effort for the OneHive, modeling the OneHive ecosystem, starting with honey issuance. And there's a link to the Discord channel for the Luna Swarm as well, where you can join in and learn more about cadCAD modeling, starting from the conviction voting model that was produced earlier this year, and kind of building on that to include more and more parts of the OneHive Luna ecosystem. So that'll be a pretty interesting collaboration with Luke Duncan and Michael Zargam, myself, and a few other contributors as well. So if you're interested in more, getting your hands dirty with more cadCAD work, there's a couple of links there for you as well. And yeah, so I'm sure as the cadCAD Edu course has kind of pointed out, there's this definite need for token engineering design and complex systems design all across the Web3 space. There's a TE Jobs in the Token Engineering Discord channel as well, where you can take a look at some of the different projects that are looking for cadCAD engineers. I imagine most of the people here already have a lot going on in the cadCAD space, but it's definitely a skill that isn't going anywhere in Web3. So really eager to skill more people up and provide the resources for anyone who's interested in this type of modeling. We definitely see it as a critical part of Web3. And as we chatted about earlier in the call, the wider world in general, kind of having data-driven decision-making and in various institutions is probably a much more reasonable way to move forward in a lot of kind of the problems we face in the world today. So there's just one last point that I have to cover is the next Gitcoin round is kicking off today, actually. So we are going to refresh the cadCAD grant. And there's also a really cool initiative for the Common Stack is running a conviction voting, kind of like conviction ranking of Gitcoin grants. And I'll show you this just quickly. This is actually a pretty neat use of conviction voting to rank the community's preference of various proposals. Hopefully it loads. Yes, it does. Great. So this is a list of community proposals that are ranked via conviction voting using the CStack token. And then all of these proposals will receive an allocation of PAN based on the number of contributions to the Common Stack Gitcoin grant. So this is kind of a way that we are funding community public goods using some of the tools that have been built within the OneHive, cadCAD, Common Stack ecosystem. So yeah, if you haven't dove into Gitcoin grants before, they're a very high leverage way to make a small donation go a long way. I believe in this Gitcoin grant round, there's $1 million in matching available. So even $1 or $5 donated to some of these grants can turn into hundreds or thousands of dollars for these projects. So it's definitely a very high leverage way to make a small donation go a long way. And I guess I should ask, are there any questions or thoughts, any notes that I just covered? I know I just blew through those pretty quickly, but I imagine most of you are probably familiar with these, but if there are any questions or comments or on cadCAD in general, I'm happy to open it up for the last 10 or 15 minutes.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
In terms of like partnerships, stuff like that, what are y'all considering in terms of like mirror world tech and stuff like that? Because it seems like cadCAD would be a perfect match for that. You know, like simulating the entire world and having like applications built on top of those simulations and how they interact with like Internet of Things and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So we talk about cadCAD as a digital twin for that exact concept. There's a guy named Harold Steiber who talks about digital doppelgangers, same idea. So yeah, that's totally aligned. Is there a specific...
I would love to work with you all on that. Sorry.
Awesome. Yeah, you can DM us to talk further. I'd love to chat with you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you mention Miro, like the whiteboarding, collaborative whiteboarding tool?
No, mirror world. It's a term
Mirror
that
world.
was coined in Wired. I think it was before a Wired article, but it was like it just really captivated me because it seems like it is literally the future of the web until like people transcend like consciousness as we know it.
Yeah, so this sounds very similar to, I guess, the digital twin model that Katoya just mentioned. And yeah, this is something that's used in cyber physical systems and complex systems in the real world. Aviation uses it quite a bit when they spin up an airplane engine. There's also a simulation of that airplane engine running for the exact same amount of time that the real engine is running, and then that allows the engineers to plug in to the engine when it lands and compare to simulation and understand where there may be issues, because a complex system, you can't really look at it and understand where the issues are, but if you compare it with simulation, you can get a much better understanding of where there may be issues in your real tools based on what your simulations show.
And so the sort of pathway for cadCAD adoption is first you use it to simulate something that you're about to release. That's why a lot of crypto projects use it, right? Because it's hard to update a blockchain, and there's a lot of risk to getting it wrong. So cadCAD is a fantastic tool for simulating complex dynamic adaptive systems. And the beauty of it as a digital twin is the idea that, okay, you have a simulation up and going. Now that you can feed it real world data, you can transition it to a monitoring tools that can inform decision making. So it becomes an operational tool. So if Mirror World, as you're quoting it, Soderpop, is that same concept, yeah, totally aligned.
Yeah, my mind is just brimming with ideas right now. Yeah, like be sure to hit me up, and I'll ask Tyler. I could go through him maybe. I don't know.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's when we get to stateful models of the world, and this is why this is so interesting on blockchain, because you suddenly have rich temporal data flows of all governance flows, resource flows in these small scale, at least for now, economies, and the potential for data-driven policy making and data-driven decision making based on having those data flows available to people opens up a world for computer-aided governance, where we have complex systems feeding information to human agents in a human understandable format, where they can make policy choices that can be run through simulations and determine whether they actually achieve the outcomes that we're looking for. We're able to do this in a lot of different areas, in flight traffic control. The few tens of thousands of people worldwide are looking at information consoles that bring in trillions of points of data and make them human understandable and human actionable. And we just haven't been able to bring these technologies to our governance systems yet. So this is potentially the first steps towards data-driven algorithmic policy and computer-aided governance. We're really excited about, for sure.
Something you might want to partner with is, I forget if I'm misnaming, but the Blue Brain project, because I have an actual like design idea that would probably require cadCAD to be deeply integrated with all the different types of neurons and glial cells that exist in the human brain, and possibly animal brains too, now that I'm thinking about it.
Absolutely. That's much appreciated. Did you say that was the Blue Brain project?
It's the one that like what was his name? The guy owned the Seahawks. He like started this project. He helped fund this project to like simulate the whole human brain. I figured that might be useful information for cadCAD to have some fun with.
Wow, cool. Yeah, definitely. Would love any more information you've got. I just dropped it in the notes here, but I'd love to hear more and get some links and introductions to any communities you think would would be interested in cadCAD as well, for sure. We're happy to explore all those collaborations.
Not a problem.
So one other thing I wanted to throw in here, I'm starting an education guild as part of the Near ecosystem. And I'd love to explore ways to collaborate with your community because I feel there's so many connections and possibilities.
A clean
Absolutely. I've got that noted in the notes as well, and I'd be happy to follow up with you on that after this, James, and yeah, see where we can leverage the synergies there.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't want to hijack the call, but I do have something else in 7 minutes, but later today could work or whenever. I'm quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome.
Sounds great.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, if that's all for Q&A, I'd be happy to end a few minutes early and give everyone a little bit of time before the next call coming up. I'm sure everyone's got a pretty busy schedule here. So yeah, if there's any final parting thoughts, happy to hear them. But otherwise, we can call this community call, and I will send out a doodle to the people who are interested in collaborating on some of the upcoming cadCAD working groups, and we can find a time for a bi-weekly sync and start moving on some of these issues, and yeah, continue to make cadCAD a place for community contributions and complex modeling to solve the big problems out there.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.